welcome to If These Walls Could Talk.
Yes.
I'm Wendy Stuart.
Well, then that must mean I'm Tym Moss. Hi.
Are you sure you're Tym Moss?
I don't know.
There's imposters everywhere. You just never know who's going to turn up as an avatar.
Hey, so
how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
You know, Tim and I, our paths got to cross this week. The amazing
Yes,
Richard
great.
Skipper, who's been on the show, did a tribute to Dolly.
Hello, Dolly.
Hello, Dolly. And it was just wonderful.
It was an amazing room full of people.
From Cabaret.
At Green Room.
Yeah.
Well, Cabaret, Broadway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
really
a who's who of people. Cabaret,
Absolutely.
Broadway at Green Room 42. I like that space.
Yeah,
too.
isn't that
It was
great?
good.
It's a wonderful cabaret room.
Yeah, we had a really great time. I've never seen Richard Skipper perform, if you can believe that. I was the only
Isn't
person.
he incredible?
Yeah, he is. We talk about as performers joyously communicating. Boy, I mean, his heart and his entire being fills the room, and we just all had a really great time. I came here on Saturday night for David Mills. David Mills has a residency here at Pangea. He is just fantastic. His show is called Stay Lost, and it's a commentary really as to why you should stay lost, because with everything that's going on in the world. I mean, he's funny and he's dark, and he's British and he's American, and it's a fantastic show. He has a residency here. His October dates are October 6th and October 13th. It's Sunday, and that will be at 8:30. I'm sorry, wrong date. His dates are October 19th and October 26th. The other dates are for our amazing guests, who I'm not announcing yet because I'm going to keep you on your toes for this one. So, Tim, you've been rehearsing?
Yes, actually, I just came from rehearsal for Little House on the Ferry. I'm understudying the role of Donnie, but I will have one night that I will be performing, and I will be letting everybody know.
Okay, so we're going to all points bulletin when Tim is in that show. You all have to come and
it's a very good production. Very good production.
Cheer you on, as we say. I will be hosting the Hanacue Dance Company. We're doing.
Oh, I love.
So
Hanacue.
we do our performance in the woods, which is really kind of cool. Come and see Dance in the Woods. I'm emceeing that show this Saturday. Looking forward to it. And for all of you who follow everything that I do, October 12th is the show Flip the Script. It's to benefit Broadway Cares, and it's the Imperial Court of New York is actually producing it. They're not in it, so all the money, of course, goes to Broadway Cares. And this guy's in it.
Yeah,
of course,
I will be there.
A whole bunch of my other friends, because you know what, we love to book our friends when we can. Isn't that like what
it's so much fun?
It's just so much better when you can absolutely book your friends. So speaking of friends and friendly, I was at Pangea one night, and there was first of all, I have to tell you, besides his sound, he was really easy on the eyes to look at. And he was playing, the music was so hot. It was like a combination of Spanish and American and all of these cultures into one, with like a jazz background, and with the whole room was dancing. It was like being in I felt like I was in a place in Europe, and it was absolutely the most fun evening I've had. And he's got a residency here as well. This October, our guest will be here on, now I'm going to get it right, Sunday, October 6th and Sunday, October 13th, and
the 8:30 show.
8:30 show, and up here in the front of where the restaurant is. It's the beauty of Pangea. You have the cabaret in the back.
I agree.
And the front. So our guest was born and grew up in Spain, and it has definitely affected his music. He plays flamenco guitar like nobody's business, but how the heck does he weave jazz into it and everything else? He's a lot of fun, and I can't wait to learn more about him. Please welcome Jackson Scott. Yes, come on in. We are so tight in our little spot here, so it's really good that you stopped eating before you came. But otherwise, we don't have enough room for everybody. Okay, are we good? All right, and I'm over at Jackson. Welcome to the show, Jackson.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to like talk to you one-on-one the night you were performing here. It was hard to get near you because like when you get going, it's like everything starts moving.
All the crockery starts jumping around.
Right. The crockery started jumping around. But you know what? I've been to Pangea many times. You had everyone up. It's like you couldn't not dance. And you know what? That's a special gift to be able to do that.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
You know,
Well,
it's
that's
like
touching the soul. That's getting the soul moving. And
and plugging us all in, which is totally what you did. So you have been in the States now for 6 years.
Yeah, 6 years, I'd say, more or less. Yeah.
Does it feel longer?
Not really. It's sort of short and long. I don't know. Because we had the whole pandemic thing in between, so it was kind
of right.
Yeah,
you lost 2 years on that.
Yeah, which was great actually, because I got to go back home to Spain where I hadn't lived for years, which was great. I left nearly 20 years ago.
Did you really?
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something. I have friends that are actually moving to Spain now. I have 6 different friends that are moving. Yeah, they want out. Yeah. And everyone, what is it about Spain? Like you grew up there. What was it like?
You were born there?
Yeah, I'm born and raised. Yeah. People used to say to me a lot when I was a kid, or even now, they're like, what was it like growing up in Spain? And I think it's such a funny question because you don't really know. And you
don't have a point of reference. Right.
Yeah, that is like kind of a dumb question.
What's
it like growing up in Spain?
Like, when I was a child, I was like, I can't believe I'm in Spain.
Yeah. Where are my castanets?
Yeah, but in retrospect, I mean, looking back, it's like I'm really glad I grew up there. Because
It's
to grow up, children get so much attention, and it's very cheap out there as well. So,
right.
And the weather's great.
And it's what we call multiculti too.
I suppose
the history.
The south of Spain is actually one of the places which is most mixed in the world. I've slowly come to realize.
Wow.
Like I went to school in a very small village there, but all the kids I grew up with, like no two people look the same. All different colored eyes, different heights, different colored. Because over the centuries, so many different cultures have been through the south of Spain.
Wow! But see, that's something we didn't even know that. That is like so cool to me. And everyone's eye color is different, so everyone is mixed of something.
Yeah, like America, right? So to me, that was really interesting, which is something I'm realizing now. Actually.
So you live down on the south?
Down the south, down up in the hills,
the Mediterranean.
About. It's sort of actually Atlantic and Mediterranean. It's kind of where the two.
That's
okay. So this is a dumb question. It's not near Gibraltar, is it?
It's not far. Yeah.
Okay, good. I get a point for that. Yes.
That's right. That's like English.
Yeah.
Gibraltar, and you got like the Costa del Sol,
right
down there at the bottom. But we're like 3 hours north of there in the hills.
But like on the weekends, would you just go to the ocean or?
Not really. It's sort of in the summer. It's about 3 or 4 hour drive to the ocean.
Yeah. Wow.
But you grew. It's interesting. You grew up in a village. So I have to ask about your parents. They were from the UK.
Yeah.
How did all this happen?
Okay, so mum was born and raised in Madrid. Because her father worked as a foreign correspondent for the Times, and then also ended up working in the British consulate over there. And then she met my dad in the 70s and then dragged him off to Spain. Basically, that's the short story.
She's like, let's go to Spain.
But
you were in a village in Spain. That's very different than going to live in Madrid.
Madrid's like New York. I think they wanted to just raise 4 kids on a farm in the middle of nowhere, So that's what they did.
So you really,
but also those small communities, you kind of know everybody. You get to everybody knows you, and right?
Yeah, exactly.
So they had a farm. What did you have on the
olives?
Olives,
sheep, goats, chickens.
Wow. Do you have like a connection to olives now? Like if I'm mad for olives, can I like ring you up and say, Jackson, can you give me some olives, please?
No, not here. No.
That's what I understand.
I'm not going to give a shout out to any olives I know.
Okay, no shout out to any of them.
They've never done a thing for me, so
they haven't helped my career at all.
And I really bent over backwards for the olives, and then no. Let's talk about the music.
I was going to say, now, when did you discover that you had a passion for both music and then pick up the guitar?
One day I was eating olives and I was this is true. I was actually.
Oh my God, I love this.
And you had an epiphany.
Yeah. I was like, I don't want to eat olives anymore. I want to play guitar. No, I used to play trumpet in one of those religious bands in Spain once, which go behind the big processions in Holy Week.
Oh,
Oh, right, they have Holy Week.
Yeah.
You're talking about a whole culture. I don't really know a lot of that.
On the street and the incense and
the whole thing.
And you walk backwards with their faces covered in big crucifixes.
The giant. I've seen those. Right, you were like there with a trumpet.
I was there doing all the. They have 2 types of bands. The ones which go behind the Virgin, the effigies of the Virgin, which are like full-blown orchestras which have been trained in music and how to read music. And then behind the Christ, you always have a band which consists of trumpets and drums.
Behind Christ.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. But these
this.
tunes that are played are ancient. It's very like it's just all on one scale, and the tunes get passed down from ear to ear.
So interesting. Yeah.
Whereas the other stuff's scored.
Right.
So we never learned to read music. The kids that were in the band, the local band that I played in. And then I started working. I had to quit the band when I was like 12, but from 9 to 12, I toured all over Spain with this band.
Oh my goodness!
Playing religious festivals and stuff, and it was an amazing experience. It was great.
It is for a kid. Are you kidding?
Yeah,
That's
it was
incredible.
cool. Yeah, and then I got really into percussion when I was sort of like in my sort of 13, 14, and that was when it must have been. I mean, if I didn't grow up, if I hadn't grown up in a farm with a lot of space for me to be able to like make a lot of noise, I probably wouldn't be a musician.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have driven my family nuts, and they told me to shut up and got rid of the oil drums and the pots and pans.
Which is what you were practicing on, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that you had started. So many musicians find their soul in music when they're in their teens, right? And they try different things. So you started with percussion then.
Yeah, that's what really got me going.
Right.
Which I'm really grateful to myself or whatever. Like, I'm really grateful that I got into percussion because it gives me a percussive way of playing guitar.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Oh yeah,
so maybe my
right.
knowledge of like music is still. I mean, you're always learning, but I never really had much of a knowledge of what I was doing with my left hand. But with my right hand, I can do all these and off beats and stuff.
Wow.
And make people go.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you talk about this. We have interviewed. I forget who it was. He could play with both hands, which was like.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
okay.
Which that's supposed to be like an anomaly. You know, nobody can do that.
That's,
you know, it's either. What you have seen that?
Yeah.
Weird.
I've seen a few things like that.
Yeah, left brain, right brain when they come together.
But there comes a point when it all kind of comes together, like where you've got the beat going, and then it's like, oh wait a minute, I could have this musical line from the guitar or the bass, and then like where they all start stacking together and to create a sound. Like, do you remember getting to that point? Or
I used to like really obsessed with sort of Moorish culture for a bit when I was about 14.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
wow.
I really liked the way people used to play percussion a lot. It was very percussion orientated. And then I started listening to a couple of cassettes and stuff, and there was a flamenco. I mean, I always grew up with flamenco around me, but there was a Paco de Lucia album called Almoraima, and there's a section in the first track, which is this really upbeat bulería. I think it's one of the first times to ever mix electric bass in flamenco as well.
Wow.
I might be wrong. There's a bit where the guitar drops it out and it's just percussion, and suddenly an Arabic oud comes in.
You love that,
like,
so cool.
So there was always guitars kicking around the house because my mum played guitar, my brother plays guitar.
Oh, wow.
I was going to ask you that. So there was that influence.
And then I'd start trying to imitate those instruments with my hand, and I spent a year with just one chord, but like with my right hand going and just giving that sound. And then I thought I could play flamenco. Then I moved to Seville, the city itself, and I was like, oh no, I don't really know how to play flamenco. Then
How old were you when you moved to Seville?
Sevilla, about 19, 20, to the actual city itself. And then I lived there for about 3 years, and then I moved to London when I was 23.
I was going to say, so you got to a city fairly quickly. Your upbringing was really rural.
Yeah.
And especially everything you told us about the religious processions and all of that, that's way different.
Yeah.
But obviously you were meant to live in a city. Maybe the fact that your parents,
and when I moved to Seville, my like early 20s and stuff, it was like, what was so great about it was like, I was like, wow, I can see different types of live music every single night. Whereas in my village, it was like, you'd see it once in a while, and it was like, I want more of that, you know.
You were just living for the Christ procession.
So were you?
No, there were friends in the village we jam and play, but it was like, you know.
So would you consider, as you were growing up, you were kind of like the rebel?
The rubble, I'd say, more than
the rebel. I love that. The rubble more than the rebel.
I sort of rubble without cause.
Right, that's great. You didn't. You know what? You didn't need a cause because you found your own way, right?
I love that.
So you left Seville and you went, of course, to the UK.
Yeah, I went to the UK, and then it was kind of cool because there's so much pressure behind flamenco guitar, and it's so competitive, and at that age when you're young and you're learning, you just want to be fast, speed. It's like athletic. And you start to develop more dynamics and stuff as you get older, and realize that science is equally as important, if not more important, than music.
Yeah.
So at that time I was like, how many chords can I do here? How many scales? And go on, let's push and faster. And then I moved to London. I got in with a kind of like the sort of rocky, punky Camden early
Sweet.
2000s scene.
That
Cool.
I can totally
And that was
see.
so much fun
right,
because it was
right.
like the polar opposite. It was like, let's do songs with 2 chords and jump about like lunatics. And I was like, yeah,
You
that's
love that,
ridiculous.
Yes.
That's really simple. I'm never getting involved in that. And within less than a month, I was involved in that.
Yeah.
And having a great time.
And you were having a
Exactly.
ball doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Camden kind of started to change a little bit, as everywhere does. And then I moved to East London. And then that got really interesting because there was lots of different cultures living there. And I got involved a lot with the Cuban scene there. I had a lot of friends who were Cubans.
Nice.
See, this is so interesting to
Well, now
us.
you
We don't
also-
know anything about this.
Right,
You
yeah.
have- But you also were in Cuba, correct?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well,
Is
in
that
London,
fast
I
forward?
started to
Yeah,
put a
it's a
band
fast
together
forward,
to
yeah.
make some money playing around nightclubs and stuff. And then that kicked off because people really wanted to dance. So then we were playing weddings, and then we finally got management.
Wow.
And then we recorded in our first EP because we got spotted playing at a party once by the John from Queen. He said, "Let me lend you our studio." So I said,
Oh my
"Okay, that
God.
sounds
That's
great."
what we call
That's
luck
great.
and
And
perfect
the bass
timing.
player Jimmy, who's from Cuba, he's like a massive Queen fan. He loved Queen.
We love
So
Queen.
anyway,
I love Queen, by the way, too.
but anyway, I had a lot of friends I have a lot of friends from Cuba in London. And then one day I went to visit Cuba, and I stayed with all their families and stuff.
Weren't you
And
blown
I-
away?
yeah,
I was
yeah,
going to
it's
say
so
the
amazing.
culture.
That
How?
was-
Tell us about
Yeah.
that experience.
Yeah, well, this was over 10 years ago, and you guys were you're talking about the stuff I've got on my website, which is
Yeah.
badly in need of updating. But
Yeah, but it's there. That was really interesting to me. You know, I know a lot of people working in Cuba,
yeah.
scientists. that
Oh, you
are
do?
doing-
Wow.
Yeah,
there's that whole other
sure,
side of
climate
it as well.
change and all of that. Because
Really?
Cuba
Wow.
hasn't been affected the way a lot of other people and countries have.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, communication there, everything is still not totally together.
Yeah.
What was it like there for you?
Well, the first time I went, I thought this is just incredible.
It's
'cause
incredible.
It's changed a
In
lot
what
in time.
way?
Yeah.
I
What-
just love the fact because look, it's hands down. I'm not a fan of of telephones and the internet and all of that. I wish I was, and I've considered getting hypnosis to embrace technology, but that's a whole nother story.
Mhm.
I was like,
You have a smartphone though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I had to ask.
but it's always switched off or an airplane.
No,
mode.
I know.
It's
I get it.
impossible.
It's not your head.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah. It's like
It was easier to be
So-
in Cuba and have that kind of head, though.
Yeah, of course, yeah, because
Uh-huh.
it's still that old school thing. So I see you outside the door of this place at 7:00, and if 7:20s come by and you're not there, then you're not coming, obviously, you know. And it
Yeah,
kinda
Yeah.
works.
I love
Yeah.
that.
I
right?
like
It
it. I
works.
miss
I
it
love,
so
yeah.
much.
Exactly.
I miss it.
Yeah.
So that was one thing, but obviously I don't know the music. The
What was the
lifestyle.
music scene like there?
The music scene's just amazing. I mean, the music there is just incredible. You know,
Mhm.
it's not just Cuban music. You know, the way they do classical music and jazz and
Mm.
Yeah,
everything.
the
is
way
like-
it's affected by
and
their
they're serious
culture.
about it. You know, they're
Yeah.
very serious
Mhm.
about it. But there's a lot of cultures which embrace music, and I think here the people do. People listen here. You know,
Mhm.
I don't want to mention places where people don't listen because that is
No, we don't
a
want to
mean
talk
thing
about
to do.
that.
Yes.
But there's certain cultures which listen more than others, and it's
Right.
like, you know, in Ireland, for example, suddenly we can be in a bar that's full of people talking, making a lot of noise, and somebody just suddenly picks up a guitar to look at it, and they won't go silent.
Uh-huh.
You know, people really don't.
It's called
And here there's an element
appreciation.
of that,
Right,
Yeah.
and in Portugal there's an
absolutely.
element
Yeah.
of that as well. And Cuba, it's just another story. And yeah.
The only group I know from Cuba, I know a few, but the one I know the best is Buena Vista Social Club. I love
Buena
them.
Vista Social Club, yeah.
That no, those crossover groups though are wonderful to have
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they brought that here
Yeah.
and they made it popular here.
Yeah. Absolutely.
This
yeah.
stuff that you already know and have experienced living there. Wow.
Yeah, they definitely.
Everyone made you feel really welcome, I'm sure.
Yeah. They do.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
we have a video, a music video. Can you tell
Oh,
us
yeah.
a little bit about that?
Which one?
Oh, go
It's
Thriller
the
by Michael.
wonderful one that was sent to us. We only got one.
Why
and it
don't
was
we-
fabulous.
Why don't we take a look at it and then
Okay,
we'll discuss
cool.
it?
It's
How
a
about that?
surprise,
Oh, great.
Jackson, but you made it.
With the wonderful Jackson Scott.
Yes.
Right.
It isn't difficult to make myself feel blue. All I've gotta do is visualize somebody else's arms around you. Then it's hard to tell what I really do. Someone else come closer to being with you. What would I tell them? What would I do? People say that life is easier on your own. do is waltz across that stepping stone. You're home. You'll never know where it all went wrong, or whether you can carry on with somebody who loves you. It's not number one. The road that we walk out, its highs and its lows. Where does it lead us? Nobody knows. One day you might wake up all on your own, with no one to talk to, blood on the stone. That we walk at, its highs and its lows. Where does it lead us? Nobody knows. One day you might wake up all on your own, with no one to talk to, blood in the stone. The road that we walk out, its highs and its lows. Where does it lead us? Nobody knows. One day you might wake up all on your own, with no one to talk to, blood on the stone.
Yes.
Jackson Scott, Blood from a
Yes.
Stone. Love
Yeah.
this. Love,
Thank you,
great
That-
video.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's so fresh and original.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
that. I
cool.
love the sound.
Yeah, it's
and
very
everything,
New Orleans.
Yeah,
actually.
Well,
It's
that
like,
was the idea behind that album.
Yeah.
which is another style of jazz.
you're
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that
Which
new
Jackson
Orleans.
infuses in his work. Where was your video shot?
Oh, the video was shot in Beirut, Lebanon, about
Stop
10
it.
years ago.
Stop.
Yeah, because I had
Wow.
this crazy thing happen to me.
You wanted to be in Beirut because
Yeah.
it's a complex.
You were- well, it was a bit more calm back
It
then.
was back then.
But
Right.
yeah, no, my sister was there cooking, and I went to visit her, and
Sweet.
I was very tired the morning I woke up to book the ticket. So I said, okay, well, I'll go and see my sister in Lebanon, and I'll just book a ticket from the 7th till the 11th of July. And when I went through customs, they said, the immigration said, how long are you staying here for? I said, just 1 week. And they said, it's not what it says here. It says you're going from the 7th of July to the 11th of August.
Oh,
And I was like,
Oh,
okay, I guess I'm going to live here for a month then. So
Oh
I ended up
my
spending a month
gosh.
there, and it was
Oh,
amazing.
wow.
Yeah.
but did you plan on making a video there?
No, but
How
I met
cool
this
is
really
this?
great girl there called Vanessa Bowles, and she directed the video. for me.
that's so
But
cool.
I just recorded the album. The story behind the album was really interesting because there's a bunch of. Are you guys familiar with sort of skiffle, which is like the New Orleans trad?
No, tell me what it
Very
is. Yeah.
interesting music post Second World War phenomenon that happened in England, where they're imitating a bit the rockabilly thing.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, But it was
Oh,
all.
it's like
and it's kind of a
rockabilly.
more music genre in its own, which is like the British 50s thing. And anyway, I've recorded it with a bunch of musicians, all to tape, and it was produced by my friend Sky. Tell me if I'm mumbling or speaking too fast, just to slow me down.
No, it's
You're
okay.
fine.
Our brains
But I'd
work
like to
really
give a shout out
fast.
to my good friend Sky Murphy. who
Sky
produced-
Murphy, hi.
He's sleeping right now.
Oh, okay. Well, this will be on tape available, so he'll be able to watch
Exactly,
it after.
yeah.
But how cool is it? You end up in Lebanon, you book the wrong ticket, you make a video.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you're the kind of person that kind of stuff
You
happens
just kind of
to.
roll with
You
it.
roll with it.
Roll with it. You gotta
Yeah.
roll with
Roll with it, right? Right. You
yeah.
just go with it.
Yeah, but anyway, that album's called Midnight Sketches, and it's going to be it'll be up on Spotify soon. Even though I've been hoarding it for years because I wanted it to be completely non-digital, because
Boy,
I
you're
recorded
purist.
it to
Wow,
tape, mixed it to
Jackson.
tape, and then me and Sky took it to the studio to get mastered directly onto acetone, and then the acetone gets put into vinyl, and that was the whole brilliant publicity stuff. Because this internet thing's just a phase,
It's right.
And,
Don't get over the internet thing. You'll see. It'll be
So I
done.
finally succumbed, and I think
Good
I'm
for
going to
you.
change my website as well to Jackson Scott Walter, which is my full name.
Well, what is your website? Mike? How can-
JacksonScottMusic.com, but it's probably going to become
Jackson
Jackson
Scott
Scott Walter.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to slowly start putting out the stuff.
and they can find out more about you and about your albums, and you're working on
And
a new,
everything that
a new
you're
one
doing.
now
I'm
as well.
working on it new, and I just finished recording
Nice.
some with this band that I play with here. But it's a live album. So a lot of the stuff we'll be doing here. So
The
it's some
band that
Cuban
you play
tunes.
with here is Menos.
Vandalucia.
Okay, I can't. I cannot speak Spanish.
Vandal Lucia.
Vandalucia.
Jackson
Lucia,
Scott Vandalucia.
Jackson
Yeah,
Scott.
like,
Vandalucia.
which is why Andalusia is called Andalusia, where I'm from, because of the Vandals. But that's another.
That's a whole other story.
Yeah, we're
I'm
gonna
sure
have
there's
another hour
a
to talk
chat.
about
You have quite a few stories there, Jackson.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you know, and you've
Mano
done
de Dios, yeah,
you've done so much. I
Well,
mean,
and even going beyond the music, also
Yeah,
your acting.
acting.
You've got a show.
Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Let's talk
I
about
was in this amazing theater company, Russian theater company.
Russian. You don't speak Russian,
I
also.
wish, God,
Oh,
imagine.
it's hard language.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, I don't know because I don't speak it.
Maybe it isn't so hard. Maybe we could all learn it overnight.
Yeah, but I'm just too
So
busy
what were you
rushing around. to learn Russian.
What were you doing with the Russian theater company?
It's acting. I was doing a bit of music for it. Krimov Lab NYC is this amazing Russian theater director called Dmitry Krimov, and he's going to be back in the spring with a new show. But I did last year. I did with him on Yegin and this thing called Love Stories, which is two short stories by Ernest Hemingway. And they were wonderful places.
Wow.
Did in La Mama and in Brick.
How fabulous!
In
Yeah.
Brooklyn Academy of Arts.
Oh,
And now I'm
nice.
in this new play, which is going out this weekend. We've got 4 more shows left. Tomorrow night, Friday, Saturday, and then a matinee on Sunday.
Mhm.
And it's called The Marriage.
The marriage.
Witold
Right, yeah.
Gromowicz. And then we're taking it to Poland, where he's originally from. And it's directed by the
Nice.
fantastic Zishan, who's a very good friend
Yeah,
of
we're
mine.
going to hold that up
Lulu.
really, really close.
She's from Istanbul. She's an amazing director, but she's lived here and worked with Lamama for a few years.
So this is going to be at La Mama.
Yes, at
Okay.
Lamama.
And
Tomorrow
what
night.
day? Tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Only tomorrow night.
Oh, no. Friday night and Saturday night. And then there's the last matinee on Sunday. And then
Okay,
the closing.
yeah.
And if you want to come from the play, then I'll be over here in Pangea tomorrow. Sunday.
Sunday.
So here
yeah.
you're, Jackson, you're working all
Wow,
the
I
time.
love
You,
that.
know,
Yeah,
you
man.
don't stop.
And that's
Yeah.
quite a shift too, going from a play into later that day
I
to
remember
play
the
music and.
show you this guy in business. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, and then also I started off doing the acting thing because I was doing like some music for Krimov's play, and then he ended up giving me a couple of parts in it. Which is good.
Well,
fun.
you're a great type.
Yeah, no.
You are. You're
Yeah.
a great type.
Watch
You're
me go now.
completely like castable and unique sound in
Unique
terms
sound,
of how
yes.
you speak, how
Yeah.
you look, and all of that.
Yeah.
You're what we call a character.
Oh, a character, yeah.
I'm sure people have
How
told you
dare you.
that Jackson's a character.
And now you've brought a couple people with you.
That's
Yeah.
right.
have
So I'm going to give a
Yeah.
quick
we have
shout out
Kit.
to my friend Kit, who's over here,
Yes.
who has his wonderful
Yay.
podcast called The Spellcast. You've got to check
I'll
out this
have you-
podcast.
All right,
Have a look
yeah,
at it.
I love this. Hi. Wait, come
So anyway,
on.
let me
Yeah,
tell you
I
how
love
we
this.
met.
We've never done the
So I'll
lead
tell you
in.
how we
It's
met.
going-
Okay, I met him in
You'll
my
be fine,
apartment.
Shit.
That's
I actually met him in my apartment. He broke into my apartment.
I love
No,
and
are
I
you
caught him
kidding me?
pilfering my refrigerator.
So
With
I
he had
owe
a big
him.
muffin in his mouth.
He was
And
hungry.
so, yeah.
Your nickname is
But
Muffin
then the
Mouth.
thing is that
It's a good idea.
when he took that muffin out, he started speaking. He had to excuse himself, and I was like, you know what? That's the voice. That's the voice I'm looking for
my
this character in
God.
the spellcast.
Oh,
Yeah.
how
And that's
cool.
how. Yeah, and
The
that's how.
Spellcast.
Yeah. So
Kid, I love that.
I
That's
love it.
so
amazing.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we have this like podcast story.
And totally spontaneous.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And this
totally
podcast, where can
spontaneous.
people find the podcast?
You can find an Apple.
Okay, you're on all
And
streaming
what is it-
platforms.
what is the
Yeah,
name?
what's
It's
it
called
called?
the Spellcast with one
The
L.
Spellcast.
So the spell with
Cast.
one L.
Okay,
cast.
SPELCAST.
And you have to put the dot in the beginning.
Okay.
Okay, the
So, yeah.
in the beginning.
Very cool.
Okay.
I got to say, I've been going to Trader Joe's every day, and I've bought all the
I love
apples.
Trader
Looked at them, I
Joe's.
opened every apple, and I can't find any spell.
Oh, well, That's because you have to go to Whole Foods.
Okay, great. So Whole Foods apples, spellcast.
There you
Yeah,
go.
And,
Thank you.
and then I want to play a tiny
Take
piece
a
of
chair
music.
with you. Yes, music. We have to hear some
Play a
music.
tiny piece
Oh,
of
Right?
music.
This is
The-
great.
the-
Now we have a guitar in this. If you
And
saw
he's
how
going to-
tiny
This
our
song
little
was
area,
really,
let's
really
do
cool.
it.
It was
And-
like done inside the
And this is dedicated to someone else.
well,
that's
no,
here,
no. I say I call it because at the time there was not much going on. It was post the pandemic, and I was meeting up every day in the snow to have breakfast in little Poland next door.
Oh, I love
Yes,
Little
it's
Poland
great,
next
it's great.
door. It's
With
great.
my good friend Charlie, so I called it Charlie's Breakfast because I like the way
I
those two
love
words
it.
come
I
together.
love it. Charlie's breakfast.
Yeah. So anyway, I got used a lot for the play that I was in, the DB Klimov one, and it's a very
Nice.
awkward position to sit in. But I'm going to give it a
You
shot. No,
Okay,
don't worry.
go for it. We never did this before on the show.
Nah, so, anyway, it's fine.
First
People
time.
could sort of-
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
take-
hold
get
it
as
back,
much-
like
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm like cross me. There you go.
Okay, how are you?
How's
You
that?
good?
Terrible,
Comfy?
terrible. No, it's awkward. It's really awkward.
It is
Okay.
awkward. We never had anyone. Here we go.
Oh my God.
Beautiful.
I've never played guitar like this with two people so close.
This is incredible.
But you're
Anyway,
versatile. You can do it.
I can't quite do it because I'm more quite. I need to kind of like
I'm
be open
so-
up.
But
Yeah,
that
I
was
like it, you know.
pretty.
That was gorgeous.
That
Yeah.
was gorgeous.
No, so much. You know that just that little bit really took it out of me. I need to take a break. So I'm gonna go away and
Well, how
lie
about
down for a bit.
we'll bring
Okay.
Charlie
yeah, bring
in.
Charlie.
Yeah,
I
bring
need a
Charlie.
siesta.
Don't forget to
Charlie
take your
Martin.
guitar with
I've
you.
got like a horn growing out the side of it.
Oh, we have so many
Jackson
surprises on this show
Scott, thank
today.
you.
We have the incredible Charlie Martin. Wait till you hear
Oh, wow,
who
and he's
Charlie
got
is and what
stories.
he's done and how Charlie Martin, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How do you and
Charlie.
Jackson know each other?
Well, like so many people involved with music and performance, we met it anyway, under the support of Oksana, who is
Mhm.
the host of the Anyway scene,
Right.
and really kind of like she's one of these, like the hostesses in the Enlightenment.
I love
in
that.
Paris,
Wow.
Nice.
and she convenes all of these remarkable people. And
Convening meaning magically brings them all together and makes it
Mhm.
happen.
I mean,
and that's how I would
that's a
describe her.
talent
She is
too.
like
it's
dynamic.
essential.
Uh-huh.
And I
Fabulous.
and I mean magically. And you know, one of the rarest of things these days are creative communities,
Right.
Yes.
Right.
and yet they're absolutely essential
Mhm.
to creating new art, new music, new groups. And you know, I started at CBGB's in the 70s.
Wow.
And that was a whole different time.
Yep.
Well,
Right.
that CBGB's is so legendary and so iconic. Can you tell
Yeah,
a
what-
little bit
yeah.
about, like, for people who don't know CBGB's?
Well, CBGB's was the place where punk exploded
Mhm.
Right.
in the 70s, and the source of the Ramones and the Talking Heads and all of the others. I was the booking agent and chief audio engineer.
Wow.
What
Uh-huh.
what a job! I mean,
'Cause-
did you just like walk in and get that job?
Well, you know, these things happened organically. I mean,
Right,
when
Right.
we-
That's how it used to be.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
it was such a primitive environment. I mean, when we started, I mean, you know, we didn't have anything. We didn't,
Right.
you know, we had a fluorescent tube over the stage.
Yeah.
We had, like,
But that's what was so cool
Thank
about
you.
CBGB's was
Right.
how raw it was.
Right.
you know,
And also it was a great place for like bands to try out new material.
Because
like,
well, that was actually required.
Uh-huh.
You weren't
Yeah.
allowed to play anything but original music.
Uh-huh.
you had all the original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, I mean, we hatched a lot of gold groups with No Lights.
Yes.
And you know, sound reinforcement was really being invented at the time. You know, it didn't exist as it does
Mhm.
anywhere remotely like today.
Yeah.
And but in a short amount of time, we had a system that we spent $107,000 on in 1977.
Wow, that was a lot of money
Yes,
back
it
then.
is. It was.
And it was an absolutely state-of-the-art sound reinforcement system, but we also had a 16-track recording deck, a mastering machine, studio monitors.
Wow.
And so we would do the live show, record the multi-track, and then mix them in the wee hours
Mhm.
in the same.
Nobody slept in those days. Come on.
No, they did not.
They took all kinds of things to keep them awake and
I
wired.
think my record was 3.5 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
but yeah, it was a remarkable time. And after that, I took over Bonds and Times Square and did a lot of big groups there, including the Clash for 16.
You did
No, you were booking, right?
Yeah, well, I was the GM and I did everything.
You
there.
did everything.
So you're the one
We
that
did
brought
the
the Clash
Yep.
I love the
to
Clash,
the US.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, they'd been here, I think once maybe before, but the big arrival was what I did in Times Square. We did 16 sold out shows.
In Times
cool.
Square.
Yeah.
Times Square was so different then. That was
Yeah,
before they
yeah.
Disneyfied it.
Oh, it was
so raw. It was
Yeah,
great.
it was
Yeah.
raw.
It was raw.
It was raw.
It was even more dangerous than this neighborhood.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And this place was no walk in the
The
park.
East
Yeah,
Village or
right.
Lower East Side. Yeah, this was no
Yeah.
joke either.
And then after that, I did 14 years at the Ritz as special event promoter
Yeah,
and
nice.
chief audio.
Uh-huh.
And but always what I've tried to do is create an acoustic environment where the artist is, not interfered with by the technology, and the relationship between the artist and the audience is unimpeded.
Mhm.
That in itself, listening to what you're saying compared to now, that's
Mhm.
the priority, and now it's just the total opposite. It's all about the technical stuff,
It's
and
it's very true.
it's
Yeah.
a totally different
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah, no, that's quite
I
true.
miss the other thing because it had such soul to it.
Well, and meaning.
Right.
Yeah.
And everyone sounded different,
Mhm.
And then the other thing that I try and do is, you're running a business or you're booking things, and then you try and create something that's a step beyond,
Mhm.
something new. And that's what first I did the Clash. And the first time that happened, I did a benefit called the St. Mark's Church Poetry Fire Benefit in the St. Mark's
Oh,
Church.
wow.
on
Yeah.
the street.
Yeah.
So it burnt down. This was the center of poetry in the Lower East Side. And
Yeah,
of course,
it was.
wow.
Yeah.
the reason that the CBGB's music scene was so productive was it was a intersection between literature and music
Mhm.
and the visual arts,
Exactly.
and that's really what happened. But we created this benefit, and we said we're going to do a poet and a band, and a poet and a band, and so we threw out the invitations, and everybody in the world responded.
I love it.
Wow.
We had, Elvis Costello came in
Oh,
from
wow.
England. Andrei Vazhnetsensky came in from Russia.
Wow.
All Ginsberg, everybody. And so that was the first time I created something. Normally you're rowing and paddling like you're on a surfboard. And
Mhm.
you're trying to
Yeah.
make it work.
This time
Right,
you
right.
built it and they came.
Well, this time, you look over your shoulder and you see this wave coming. And you're
Yeah.
like, let's see.
Holy
Now the problem
moly.
is to survive. It's not.
Yes,
to,
right,
I don't want it
exactly.
to go any bigger.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But that was fun.
But what an incredible response to get.
Yeah, no, it was remarkable, and that's what really makes things fun, because we try and create new things, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, absolutely.
How do you find creating new things in this environment now? Because we're time traveling here, Charlie. and
Mhm.
that's
Tim.
what's so important.
That's what we're doing.
That's what's so important about Pangea and Anyway.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Absolutely.
stories and Pangea are an artistic scenes,
Yes.
Mhm.
and very rare these days, and absolutely essential. And doing things like what you're doing, which is propagating news of such things, is very
I call it
important.
shining a light on it and
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
spreading it.
Yeah,
Absolutely, because
Yeah.
that's what needs to have happen.
Yeah.
But it is very challenging in these times because when I find, and this has nothing to do with the young ones, but their sensibility is so different. It's like they don't care. They care about what they care about. They'll stick their earbuds in and listen to the music on their phone as easily as they'll maybe go see somebody or whatever.
Well,
It's-
speaking to your point about the technology
Yeah.
getting in the way, they're not as social as we were.
Absolutely.
They're not social.
Absolutely.
It's a whole different thing.
Because
They're-
we used to
yeah.
gather together like
Thank
CBGBs.
you.
We were just packed in there,
Yeah.
shoulder to shoulder.
Right.
Yeah.
And you could
they
feel the
don't do
energy. You
that
could feel the
anymore.
energy
That's,
in the
that's
air.
a human
Exactly.
experience.
But I will say this, I'm expands around town, and I will say that the youngest generation now, I see a resurgence of it.
Yes.
On the ones in their
We're
20s.
in their 20s.
That
The
have come
ones-
up
the
again.
ones that are looking-
even early 20s.
Right.
Right.
You think there's an
but they have-
appreciation, maybe.
They have more of a
Yep.
passion for substance and
and they want to interact, and
Right.
they're
Excellent.
taking playing more seriously and
Good.
Good.
craft more seriously.
Good to
Excellent.
hear
Good.
because
I'm-
it skipped a couple of generations.
inspiring.
Really, truly.
that's inspiring to hear. Definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
There's light, there's hope. Don't
Yes.
give up, everybody.
Yes,
Don't
let's keep
give
the
up.
arts-
There is a
keep the
light
arts
on the
out there.
horizon.
And-
So there have been so many books done on CBGBs. Have you been in some of those? Have people interview? I mean, you're like Mr. CBGB here.
Well, I
Look at your background. You knew everyone.
I usually avoid all such things because, it's impossible to tell the truth about history.
Mhm.
And,
Interesting.
so I kind of avoid it.
Mhm.
Well, it's from your perception. So maybe it's
Well-
not that each of us have our own perception of history.
Well, I will say that every rendering I've seen of CBGBs has been horrendous.
Yeah.
Wow.
I haven't recognized anything. I mean,
Well,
and
again,
I
how
don't look
could
at
you-
them much, but
Again, how can you explain what was happening at that time?
well, and it's like people ask me, what was the most exciting show you ever did? And it was like every day was an
Yeah,
adventure.
right.
That was the life we were living.
Right. You were
Uh-huh.
on that level
Every
all the
day.
time.
Every
Right.
But
day
how
was an adventure.
exciting.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was exciting. All right.
Uh-huh.
And live to tell the tale.
Yes,
right.
exactly.
And what do I say? We're all still standing.
Here we are.
Right.
Absolutely. And you are standing also with Jackson Scott,
Yes.
who we will bring
Yes.
out. I'll step out and let him
Yeah.
slide back in. Come on.
Tim, we can get you in if we lean you in like we did before. Tim, we
No,
can
that's
lean
fine.
you. Are you sure?
Oh, yeah. No,
All
no,
right.
you got to squeeze in. Make
Okay.
sure.
Yeah,
There
it's
you,
a bit
there you
more
are,
even frame.
Jack. Okay.
Now,
there-
I can tell you that this gentleman, every day is an adventure.
I can imagine
Uh-huh.
that he
Every day
is.
is a unique, creative
I can
adventure.
see.
Yeah.
And I think the ultimate show would be just to follow you around on a daily basis.
Well, that would be my
Nice
question. Has
unscripted
anyone
show.
done
But
that?
then that would make my life really boring, I think.
You think?
Because the way like particles don't like to be analyzed.
Oh,
Oh,
that's true.
Heisenberg, right?
No,
Right?
no
So,
part
like,
of
It's true.
You'd be
They don't
trapped.
like to be
Yeah.
observed.
No
Yeah.
If
particles.
you
being-
catch me by accident, you're probably gonna have a great time.
You'd be
Yeah.
you'd be stabilized. It'd be
Yeah.
horrendous. You'd
Yeah.
be trapped.
That'd be it. That'd be it. Yeah. Wait a minute, no, man. I don't recommend that.
They-
So just by accident.
by
You
accident.
know, come on the 13th by accident. You can have a good time.
Well, October 6th, tell them about your Pangea.
That's
Yeah.
right. Oh, it's October 6th.
Yes,
isn't it?
Yeah,
October
and
6th. We have the dates written
Yeah,
down
6th and
somewhere.
13th. Yeah.
I have it down for the 6th and for the 13th at 8:30 at Pangea.
Thank you.
Well, that's
I
what
was
we're
trying
here
to say.
for. I know. It's like I have everyone's schedule, including Tim's. I have
Excellent.
all of your upcoming dates.
Yeah.
6 years in New York, Jackson. What
Mm.
have you learned? You weren't expecting that one. Now we're off the cuff. Now we're just like talking. What have you learned in the 6 years?
Music. Music. Yeah.
How is it
Definitely,
affect-
have learned a lot about music here. Actually, It's
You
been great.
have.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and
That's
I've learned
great.
I learned to do more solos because the musicians I work with here let me jump into the deep end.
Oh,
so
that's
they go,
hot.
"It's your turn now." I'm like, "No, it's not."
Yeah.
'Cause I've always like,
No one
I've
told me
always
it was
just
gonna
like
be-
got good musicians to do the solo part, so I just can focus on singing and playing guitar.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Although I've known the scales and stuff, but if you don't put them into practice, then they're just.
So do you
sleeping.
feel like
Now,
New
is-
York has been a big influencer in
Yeah, I'm
growing your
learning a lot
music?
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are very,
That's good to hear.
So is that
yeah.
kind of it when you're playing jazz?
Yeah,
Like when
kind
you,
of. Yeah,
because that to me is so frightening.
it's
'cause you
about
just step
constructing
out there.
stuff.
Together.
I'm starting
Yeah.
to realize the creative elements of knowing
Yeah.
about a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
and not being afraid to learn.
Yeah,
Because I was,
exactly.
I don't know. Yeah, cool.
Good.
But
Is it-
You wanted it, and I can't not give you an answer.
Yeah, Jackson, you
That's
can
what
make up.
springs to mind.
Listen, you can make up anything you want. You know.
I mean, I've learned a lot about
Yeah,
it.
I know. I'm sure you've learned a lot of other things.
And we'll just keep watching you like the particle.
Yeah.
Secretly.
In,
Yeah,
ter-
secretly.
in terms of places to play here, how do you think things are going in terms of giving musicians platforms? In terms of Manhattan versus Brooklyn, right? Brooklyn is a whole different scene,
Mhm.
and I'd like both of you to give me your opinion on that.
Charlie's more into.
I don't leave Manhattan.
Ah! you
I don't leave this neighborhood actually.
you don't leave the
Mhm.
neighborhood.
No,
either,
the rest of the
right.
world frightens me.
Right.
Mhm.
Charlie, I love you. That's like so great. No, you know what? I would like to be like that. I can't be, but I would like to be like
I have a
that.
terrible existential crisis if I go north of 14th
Mhm.
Street. It's
You
I
do.
can't-
We know a number of people
Mhm.
like that.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
There's not
Yeah.
enough support for my spirit.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's got to be a metaphor, a bit like the particle thing with that. Like if you drag him out, it's like.
Yeah, when I
It'd
go
be
north
like-
of 14th Street, I start looking like one of the Giacometti sculptures.
It's-
Oh my God. So Jackson,
Listen.
do you have any upcoming touring plans? And where are you going with the Cuba project? I want, I guess I'm saying like, what's next?
Yeah, you better
Okay.
plan.
What's the plan? Jackson, what's the plan?
Okay, can I tell you? the
What's
plan?
your career path?
Yeah, well, can I just?
Do you have a 5-year plan? I'm just joking with you. We're putting the pressure
5
on you.
years,
We're
you
just
think?
5 years.
5 years.
We can't get 5 minutes.
No, we're taking the marriage display
Yes.
to Poland.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's
And,
going to be really
I'm going
interesting.
to Poland this month.
This is so cool.
Mhm.
And then I'm going to probably do a couple of gigs with the Uninvited Jazz Band in Istanbul, which will be real fun.
Oh,
So you have this whole international arena plan for yourself.
God, it's just, we'll see.
But the Istanbul adventure sounds really.
Yeah, that's going to be really
That's
cool.
the one where we should have a camera over your shoulder.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just to ruin everything, right?
But no, you're right. That's a really great idea, Charlie.
Oh,
Following
man,
him
I'm
around
telling you.
Istanbul. Have you been
Let's see.
before?
I did years ago. Yeah, I loved
Years
it. It's
ago,
wonderful.
and you
Amazing city.
totally
God, I
loved
mean,
it.
that's a place where cultures really clash. Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
I know.
Really?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Mm.
But you love that, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
you love. We
It's
don't.
great.
I don't think we have that culture clash here.
Oh,
We have,
yeah, you do.
You
think
it is?
Oh,
New
just
York.
in American
Yeah.
music alone, if you think about how many genres are in this country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary.
That's true.
And that's just one country. And there it's where East meets West. So you have Balkan music in the same city as you have Gypsy jazz, as you have
Wow.
Arabic music, as you have Indian music.
See,
all
that's
these
so.
things.
Asian.
Yeah.
So that's a world thing.
So
But here, I mean,
interesting,
think about
man.
it. All the stuff you've got going on here
Right.
in New York is it's crazy. Just of American music.
Well, we
We're not
offer
talking
a-
about music from other places.
Right.
There's
Right.
a good flamenco scene in New York.
How did you end up like infusing the Great American Songbook into your work?
I don't know. I guess I like some of those tunes.
That was interesting for me to read that because I was like, that like what about that appeal? I think it's fine. It just
Kind of
seems
grew up
so
with that music.
different.
My mother used to listen to that music a lot.
Mother
Mhm.
used to listen to it.
Yeah, it's always around, and a good song's a good song. It doesn't really matter where it's from.
That's
Mhm.
exactly right. Right. It doesn't
Um,
really matter where it's
yeah,
from.
yeah.
What about your 5-year plan, Charlie?
My
Not to go above
I-
14th Street.
no, really, and just keep. I go day to day. I do the same thing. I mix shows. I try and occasionally promote special events. I'm working on a huge thing right now, which may or may not happen, but if it does, it'll be historic. And I keep doing the same thing basically.
Well, because that's your comfort zone and the thing that your expertise is at.
I just don't want to do anything. I can't do anything else because the rest is too depressing.
Interesting. Well,
It's-
then you're lucky to be able to do
I
your.
am.
Yeah.
I'm grateful every day when I'm in the middle of mixing a show. I think I'm so happy
Right.
to be doing something that has intrinsic value.
Right.
Why do you tell them about the
Did
plan you've got of like getting me knocked off so that you can sell all the music?
Well, I have.
Yeah, let's
so
talk
many
about
files,
that,
And you'll
right.
see a lot
Yeah.
of his files at Anyway Stories channel on YouTube. A lot of the good stuff, including the Charlie's Breakfast song.
Yeah.
But I've got so many files on him, and if his accent is simple, it'd be worth a fortune.
It's called the Jackson Scott Files.
Actually, maybe you should put a camera on me in Istanbul.
Right.
I don't trust this guy.
Oh, so I'm going to ask a question that nobody is expecting. Are either of you married? Notice the dead silence. I just noticed that.
Are we married?
The marriage.
Which brings me back to
There you go. That's as close as it's going to come for this one. The marriage.
I tried a number of times
You
to get
did.
married,
That-
but,
how many-
but unfortunately
yeah.
we ended up getting romantically involved, and I was like, screw that.
And then
Yeah.
right, and then
Yeah.
it just, like
So
didn't
it's like,
work.
well, we can't get married now.
Right. I can
I know
imagine
that
you
sounds
would
awful, but it's kind of
be a lot to deal with anyway.
Thanks.
I just thought I'd share that with you. Charlie, we're just having a good time here, aren't we?
man.
Yeah.
Right, just
That's what it's about.
right about having a good time. Now, where did you grow up, Charlie? We don't know anything about
South side
you.
of Chicago.
Oh,
okay.
you're Chicago,
Yep.
as they call
Yep.
it, right? Chicago.
My father produced Dixieland concerts when I was a kid.
Oh, okay.
See,
So
that's
where you get it from.
so the parental influence for both of
Yeah.
you is there. I had this conversation with somebody the other day. They're like, nobody's born with genius. It's from their environment. It's who influences. I don't totally believe that, by the way. I think some people are born with genius and they're different than their families. But we often find out that performers, musicians are influenced by, you know,
I mean,
where
genius is
where
such
they
an
came from.
interesting concept. But if you look
Yeah,
at
tell me what
something-
you think
if
about
you look
that.
at the way we're all completely different. You know,
Right.
no one's got the same length arms and the same,
Yeah.
the same
Right.
nostrils taking the same amount of oxygen or whatever it is, you know. But I think sometimes you just can be naturally built into being good at something, which is probably staring at you in the face your whole life and you don't even notice it. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Mhm.
And sometimes I think maybe, you know, I don't know. You know, it's weird. Did you ever think about that? It's
I
weird,
think
right?
about that, but I got into a huge
Like
argument
everyone-
with a
but
famous
sometimes you get that
artist
person
last
who's
week about
naturally
that.
good at, and they manage to get at what they were perfectly good for.
I got
You
into
know,
that
be it
with
anything.
somebody, and they said to me, "No, that it's not ever genetically."
Interesting.
Yeah, he's a well-known artist from
Also
the
something
UK.
you're into though as well. So it's a combination of both things.
Okay,
So
maybe it
but
is, right.
Imagine
Desire.
I'm really into flamenco guitar and classical guitar, but my fingers are tiny. But but I have so much passion for it.
Right.
But then imagine if I have the coolest, like most fingers would be able to make the craziest chords, and they have such speed and
Then it's
dexterity.
kismet. It's
But
everything
I want
coming
to play
together.
football.
But you
Right,
want to
right.
You know what I mean? And it's this, you know, I don't think that somebody becomes more clever or less clever than anybody else. It's like, just imagine somebody who's able to memorize every single,
Well,
every single, this is the name of every single city in America.
Right.
That doesn't make them less intelligent than somebody who's able to memorize, you know, somebody who knows the players, the player of every single team, every single football team in America.
Yeah.
Because they're passionate about that.
Right.
But then that
It
doesn't
turns
make
them
them less
on.
intelligent than somebody who's able to memorize several Shakespeare plays, whatever it is. Do you know what I'm saying? It's
Yes.
like, so I think it's unjust to say this person's genius or that person's genius, because it depends on what you're passionate
It depends.
You know
So
what I mean?
you
I was
totally
gonna say,
believe that passion is connected to someone's genius, really?
I think that love,
passion is
is what takes someone to greatness.
Mhm.
If somebody loves something more than anybody else, then they'll be the best.
But is it love alone, or do you have to have the ability? Do you have to have the talent?
obviously
You know,
you
is
have-
love
you have
love
to
and
have-
alone
you have
do
to
it?
have some, you have to
Like
have
what
the
he's
ability,
talking about, you know, when it all comes together perfectly,
But
and you have the
But at
passion, boom,
any given moment, there are lots of people who are really good at something,
right?
but there's only one or two who love it more than everybody else, and they're the ones that will be best.
Yeah, probably
Mhm.
that will probably be.
They'll excel.
Do you think, though, for example, like,
You
Yeah.
are. Wait, hold on. From the bleachers, you are. Come back in here, honey. Right. Okay. Tell our audience.
You are what you love.
You are what you
That's
love.
true. I like that.
It's true. It's true.
yeah,
So, what do you guys think about? We have the election. I'm not going to ask about politics, but how do you think the outcome of the election can affect all of us as creatives?
I don't think it'll affect us at all, and I think that's the big mistake
That's why I love
everybody's
doing
making.
this show, right?
You know,
They're buying. You think they're drinking the Kool-Aid?
completely.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, and what's important is that people come together and infuse their lives with meaning together,
Right.
with artistic expression.
No matter what is going on politically.
It doesn't.
Oh, I
matter.
love
And then
you,
we will
Charlie.
affect- and then
Right.
That will
Yeah.
affect
But
the,
you
your
got to
environment.
put it down. And I'm not saying don't vote. You should absolutely go
Right,
vote.
absolutely, but it shouldn't be.
Don't take
yeah,
it home.
Yeah.
Don't take it into your community.
Thank you.
Mhm.
interesting. That's good.
Well, how do you feel about that, Jackson?
I think that's very wise what he said.
You
I
do.
I couldn't help thinking what politics actually means, because poly means a lot of, and what's ticks mean.
A tick is something that bites
Yeah,
you.
it sucks
I
your
got
blood.
Lyme
Yeah.
disease.
You know?
When you get Lyme disease, it's because you were bitten by a tick.
Yeah, so
There
a
you
lot
go.
of ticks is
Pretty-
probably like
A lot of ticks is probably
Yeah.
not good. I love these guys are great. Tim, we have comments.
I can't
Uh,
read them.
Okay, and I
unfortunately.
can't see them, but hold on, we're going to do our best here. Okay, Michael Luisi, Celia Cruz. He loves Celia Cruz. You probably same here,
Yeah.
Celia. Right.
Oh,
You know,
Celia Cruz, yeah.
I could never learn the R in the Spanish. I can't roll it, and what I do to Spanish is
Oh,
horrible.
the R in Spanish.
Yeah, it's too hard. I heard you rolling that R a few times today. I wasn't
Well,
gonna say-
I've got trouble with American art. So when I have put words which are very American, like Minnesota on that,
Minnesota.
Dakota.
Yeah,
I either say it in an
Minnesota.
American accent,
Right.
but I don't know how I'm meant to pronounce it in a British accent.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Dakota.
Right.
Yeah,
How is it?
Minnesota. I don't know.
Sota, yeah.
Because you guys go soda.
What's it-
Dakota.
So
Yeah,
Minnesota.
so it's
Yeah.
Spanish.
What's a dumb name anyway? Just tell yourself
I
that.
think that's a really interesting observation about myself that I just discovered about myself.
Yeah.
See, that's what we do on this show, though. It was
Thanks
about
so much.
self-discovery. I wanted you to like
I
have
didn't
these.
realize.
I wanted this for you because the next time you get up here and play a Pangea, that's
I
going to
can
come
tell that
out.
as a storyteller.
You
No,
will.
Yes.
Right, right.
yeah.
Dakota.
We I have on here I just lost somebody that I had because I don't know how to scroll this thing. B. Claudia is on from Germany. And she thinks you guys are both so cool. Greetings from Europe, of course. And let's see. Suze is on here. Great show. Tim, do you know how to scroll back? I don't. Okay. This is true confessions time. When I got this high-end computer, I cannot work this tracking pad. I would love a mouse. There you go. I said it.
I can't find the.
You might
the
find
mouse.
some in the apples in Trader Joe's.
Oh, they are.
Okay, make it go back. Well, Charlie knows how to do. Oh, right, we got a technical guy with us. God, I'm going to be ringing Charlie up. All right, Christina, can you say her name for me, please?
Christina.
Yeah, spell the last name. I know you can say it.
Where?
Right here. Will Jackson play live right now? Oh, God, I love it when he speaks. Oh. Anyway, will Jackson play guitar live right now? Yes, he did. We did it to the best of our ability.
Well, that was probably earlier.
Yeah. And we had the video. Please tune in again because the video is now on Wendy Stuart TV in posterity. You can watch it anytime. And we have Lori Towers, and she is coming to our show, Flip the Script. She can't wait to see us. It's great. You know what? For Tim and I, it really is all about same thing it is for you. It's about creating the art and doing the work. It's just when you have those in-between times that you have to give yourself the boot in the butt to continue to create the art and do the work.
And try to
that's really
help
important
people.
What you said there.
Help people to feel.
Right.
That's what I think.
I created this show during the pandemic. We were sitting out in front, freezing under a heat lamp. And I said, and this was shut down in here. Remember, you couldn't have people come inside. And I said to Tim, I said, it's empty in there. We could do a celebrity show and people couldn't come live, but my wonderful PR people had all of these musicians like Scott Page from Pink Floyd. Their tours were all canceled. It was right.
Yeah,
when
so
it was
were all available.
Every single person was available, and we sat in this corner and built this show. We're almost 4 years into it.
Yeah,
January will be 4 years into it. It's about using your creative energy, and you're right. The poly and the tick and all of that. We can only do so much. I will only let a little bit of it infuse. I signed up people to vote 2 weeks ago. I do my part, but at the end of the day, I didn't even watch the debate last night because I need to be working on Christmas shows and all the things that we have coming up. We need to be doing our art and not have the distractions. You have both been so great. And come here, visitor at the bar. Identify yourself again.
It's Kit.
Okay, tell us your name again.
My name is Kit Crash.
Kit Crash, and lean in. We got to get you in there. You're great. That's Kit. That's Kit Crash, and Tim Moss is up. You know what we need? Someone should invent this, and you're a technical guy. One that worked both ways, where we have a camera, like when you move to the other side, I can get you in too. It's not so far fetched.
Well, he knows because we did this amazing thing for Anyway Stories. Where somebody lent this new camera to him, which is extraordinary. It's almost like an orb, right? Which goes. Boom, and then you can grab it like you explain it, Charlie.
And at 360s,
unless you don't want to give it a shout out.
It can do it can do 8 individual shots through one lens.
Oh, sweet!
Wow.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's wow.
It only costs $500,000.
You currently have this thing?
No.
It can make your mother-in-law like you. It's crazy. This thing's insane. Yeah.
And you can look at her in 8 different frames too. What a joy. What a joy that is. Well, speaking of a joy, you all, I love this whole team here. I want to give a shout out to an amazing person whose name you've heard, the one and only Oksana. She has the energy of 50 people. Come on, you're tiny. You can jump in here. Yeah, this is great. Tim, how many people did we get in here today? There we go. That is so cool. Thank you. You brought this all together today. And we had such a great time. This is what we're all about here. Thank you to our audience who tuned in today. Again, you can go on Tim Moss Facebook Live, leave comments, and this show will permanently end up, when all is said and done, on Wendy Stuart TV, where you can go look at it anytime and see what a fabulous time we had here today. In the meantime, please come back to Pangea, Sunday, October 6th at 8:30, Sunday, October 13th at 8:30. And
For Jackson Scott.
Jackson Scott,
Mhm.
dance your butt off and have a great time and hear some really amazing music. And again, another thing, meet some really cool people. There were some really cool people here that you attract them. You're like a cool people magnet. Cool people magnet. Yeah.
So thank you, Jackson.
Thank
you,
you.
Charlie Martin.
Probably
Thank you,
cool people.
Oksana, Kid, everybody. This
Thank
was
you,
great. I
everybody.
appreciate this.
We'll see you
So
next
bye.
week. Bye-bye.